Hey guys, my name is Bill Matthews. I have a YouTube channel, 𝗙ecie𝗶𝗹, and 𝗦cie𝗰𝗶𝗶 has let me take over their YouTube channel today to show you guys how to do some frog fishing. So I'm going to give you guys 5 quick tips to help you guys catch more bass when you're throwing a frog. Okay guys, so today we're throwing the Spro Poppin' Bronze Eye Frog. I like throwing an all black frog. That's not one of the tips, but honestly it gives you a really good silhouette. The fish from below, they don't really know what color the frog is anyway. You don't got to get too fancy with the colors. So I stick with an all black, but straight out of the package, Spro has actually changed their design quite a bit. So their tails already come pretty much cut, but what I like to do here, first tip, you want to cut this a little bit unevenly because that's going to help you get a much better walk the dog action. So that's tip number 1. Now I'm going to tie this up and we're going to go start fishing. Oh, that was a bite, yep. There he is, second cast. Oh, and he came off right at the shoreline there though. But, so what we're doing here is we're throwing this frog in and around these lily pads. So that's another, not part of the 5 tips here, but you want to throw the frog around vegetation. You don't want to be throwing it out in the middle of nowhere. Usually, every once in a while you could throw it like up on a flat or something, but usually I would go for something more like a spook or something like that. But you could throw a frog in heavy cover because it's pretty much completely weedless, and that fish hit right in the thick of things there. Okay guys, so tip number 2 here, it applies more to pond fishing, but when you're fishing lakes too, I do this sometimes. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna cast on the shoreline and then drag the frog into the water. That way you don't spook the fish by landing the frog right on top of their heads. It just seems like a more natural approach. So I'm gonna start casting on the bank, dragging the frog slowly into the water so the fish don't really know. It's just a little bit more like their natural habitat and the fish are gonna eat a little bit better. There he is, first cast up on the shoreline. And he never knew anything because we were nice and discreet. We just dragged it right off the bank there. And she thought it was just a little frog on a nice little afternoon stroll, but that's a little dinky bass. The first one was a little bit better, but that's how you do it. Tip number 2. Okay guys, so tip number 3, we're gonna be looking for ambush points. Since bass are predatory in nature, they're gonna be sitting there in the thickest stuff, but they're gonna have their heads poking out towards the holes and towards the edge of the lily pad. So you want to throw your frog around those areas. I want to target these little holes, these little pockets, and that's where you're going to get the most bites. So let's go do that, see if there's any bass sitting in these holes. There he was, right in that little pocket.
Is that a good one?
That's a decent one. It's a little bit bigger. Basically what you want to do, like I said, is target those holes. It's just going to be a lot more of a high percentage area. You could catch fish in this thick stuff, and a lot of times in the dead of summer, they'll sit in the heavy parts of the mat, and you will catch fish in a frog doing that. But the majority of the time, you're going to get more bites if you hit those holes. So that is tip number 3. So tip number 4 is I see so many guys fish hollow belly frogs way too fast, and what we're going to do is we're going to slow down. What I like to do is I like to give it that walk the dog action, but I fish it super slow compared to a lot of guys at least. So we're going to just basically try to make this frog walk in one place without moving at all, really. You want to sit in one of those little pockets like tip number 3 and just have your frog walk the dog and kind of remain motionless but still moving at the same time, and you're going to get more bites doing that. Holy smokes, right in that tiny little pocket. All right, come on, we got to get this fish. That one looked like a good one. That one looked like a better fish. Oh my gosh. Okay, bonus tip guys too, and I just did a terrible job of it, so maybe I'm not the one to tell you. When you're frog fishing, you want to give those fish 1 or 2 seconds to, you know, really get that frog down their throat, and I just absolutely destroyed that thing the second that it blew up on there. Well, that's a bonus tip. That probably should have been one of the 5. Definitely let the fish get the frog in their mouth, because especially when that one hit it kind of in the slop. Like, oh, see, like that one straight missed it. Let's see, come on. 4th time's the charm. But you want to make sure that they get that frog completely down their throat, especially when you do get one that's not in a pocket and they don't see it that well, so they're slurping up a lot of grass along with the frog, and you just got to let them get it good. Literally right there. I popped that one over the top of a lily pad, then I just let it sit there. Didn't move it at all, and that fish crushed it. Another little dinky bass, but you gotta love frog fishing in that thick cover. It's a lot of fun. Okay, So that is tip number 4. And now, finally, tip number 5, possibly the most important tip of all. You gotta be throwing it on the right equipment. I'm throwing this on a 7/6 heavy action fast tip rod. It's got a ton of backbone to pull these fish out of heavy cover, but it's still got a nice little tip on there too, so you can work the frog really nice. This is a Fox River rods. You guys can check them out. I'm throwing this on a 7:1 super fast gear ratio reel, so you could, you know, make sure that you pull those fish out of the cover as fast as possible. You don't want them digging their way deeper down into that grass. The most important out of the equipment section too is your line, and I'm throwing this on 65-pound braid for multiple reasons. So 1, braided line floats. You don't want to throw this on fluorocarbon because your frog is going to sink down, and then 2, it doesn't stretch at all. So when you set the hook, that fish is going to get stuck. So equipment is extremely important when you're frog fishing. You want to make sure you have like a 7/4 to 7/6 heavy action rod. You're going to be pulling those fish out of heavy cover, and you want to have a super fast gear ratio reel, and you definitely want to have braided line. But let's go catch another fish. There he is. There he is. And look at that one even get like stuck in the cover. That's perfect. To show you like how important having this strong equipment is. If you're throwing this like on a spinning rod, if you're throwing this on like a 7-foot medium heavy rod, you're not going to be able to pull them out of this super thick cover. Like these pads have really thick stems, and pulling those fish out is extremely important. There's another fish out of some thick cover there, and that is tip number 5. You got to have the right equipment. But we're going to catch some more fish here, so if you guys want to stick around and watch me catch some frog fish, we might catch some bigger ones. There actually are some pretty big fish in this pond, but I hope these tips helped you guys out a ton. I know that frog fishing is one of those things that you could get really frustrated really fast if you keep missing fish on a frog, and having the right equipment, like I said, that's the most important thing if you're gonna land most of your fish. So far today, I think I've had like 5 or 6 blow-ups, and I've only missed just the one of them, and if you miss 1 or 2 on a frog, that's just bound to happen. So let's go catch some more bass, and hopefully we stick a big one. There we go. Let that one eat it for a second. Boom, baby. Well, after missing that last decent one there, stuck one, but they're getting small again. We need to get some big girls. All right, here we go. There we go. There's a little bit better one right there. Out of the thick stuff. Right in that hole. Oh, it's a little chunky one too. That might be a pre-spawn female if I've ever seen one. Check out that little prego belly. Holy smokes. That thing's fat as heck, dude. What a little butterball. Holy crap. I want a picture of that one. That one came fishing right in one of those little holes and fishing the frog super slow. So that was utilizing tip number, I don't even know what number the tips were, but the key is using all the tips together. The only one that you don't always use is you don't always cast up on the shoreline. Obviously, you can't even do it. Like, if certain angles, you can't even do it every single time. But all the other tips, the equipment, fishing slow, fishing in holes, all that all together will catch you more bass. And that's exactly what happened right there. Oh, baby. That's a better fish right there. Okay. Seems like the bigger ones are over in this pocket. That's a nice fish right there. This one looks more post-spawn than anything, but or it could just be like a decent-sized male, but that's probably like a 14, 15 incher. Right out of that thick slop right there. Okay. Hopefully the bigger ones are over here. We're going to start getting into them. Oh yeah, baby. Popped it right off that pad stem. Man, I can't get any big ones. We caught one nice, really fat, like 12 incher and then like a 15 incher. But the majority of the fish seem to be like, I don't know, 10 inches long. Absolutely choked the frog though, right down her throat. Let her take it for a second and she just frickin' demolished it. There he is. Fishing is super slow. Okay. Feisty little guy. Okay guys, so I think that's gonna do it for the day. Let's get this fish back in the water really quick. Another little like 10 incher. Did not get any giants, but I hope these frog tips helped you out. Today we were just fishing like a little pond here, but these work pretty much everywhere across the board. Lakes, ponds, rivers, stream, anywhere where there's heavy vegetation and you want to throw a topwater frog. Next time you guys are out frog fishing, consider using those tips to help you guys catch more bass on a topwater frog. But thank you guys for joining me today for this tips and tricks video, and I hope you guys check out more stuff on Mr. Tackle Box's channel. If you guys like watching this and you want to check out my content as well, the link's going to be down in the description below. But I will catch you guys next time.